Welcome everybody to the Pirateskills meetup on June 3rd. Today we're going to talk about personalization as the new A/B testing. You can get all the information about this meetup and the slides at getpirateskills.com/personalization. So I'm super excited about this topic because it is a more advanced topic than usual, I would say. And therefore, I've split this up into 4 sections that will really make it approachable for the beginners, but then step it up towards the more advanced users. Why your website reminds me of 50 First Dates. I don't know if you remember that movie, but it was the scenario that Adam Sandler met this beautiful woman in a bar, and he's talking to her, and the next day she completely forgot about him. And he was wondering, like, what's up with her? And but she was suffering from amnesia. And there is a very famous a patient called HM, his first name is Henry, that I studied during my psychology studies, that couldn't remember anything that happened 30 seconds ago. So in the movie, this guy is portrayed by Tom, and he's always saying like, "Hi, I'm Tom." And you tell him, "Hello, I'm Ben." And 30 seconds later, he's like, "Hi, I'm Tom. Hi, I'm Tom." And this would be super weird behavior in real life, but this is exactly how our websites are behaving. We do as if we completely forget that persons have been there already. We always show the same old stuff. This is my workshop landing page, yeah? And normally you would just see this landing page, which tells you marketing workshops, master the art and science of growth marketing. And let's take a look at this line. Yeah. So now I did some personalization, and when somebody joins the website who has already went to a meetup before, you can now see that he sees, like the meetups, you will love the workshops. This is a sentence that would absolutely make 0 sense to somebody who doesn't even know what Pirateskills is, or who didn't even go to the meetups. Maybe people don't even know what a meetup is. I always thought it was a super popular word, but I tell you it is not. So this makes it more relevant, yeah, to the audience. And instead of showing the same old, you can personalize this experience. And today we want to show you how you can set this up for yourself, what kind of tools to use, and share some cool case studies on how personalization has actually increased revenue for businesses. So let's start with how a setup for optimization would look like. I think most of you guys have already Google Analytics installed. Google Analytics is a very common web analytics suite that helps us understand user behavior. And they started to create their own personalization software, which is freely available up to a certain service level. And so Google Optimize is very often a first choice for beginners. Yeah. And it essentially is just a piece of JavaScript that you install, very, very similar to how you installed Google Analytics. So if you have Google Analytics installed, which is very likely, then you already pretty much know the process of how to get going with Google Optimize. And it even tells you after you have installed it that everything is set up correctly, or the mistakes you need to correct. But what you want to see is this green arrow button after the installation. For more specifics on how to install, please just use a YouTube video or the Google Optimize explainers that will help you there. And what you are now able to do, now that you have installed in customer experience software, you can now, on your website here, you see that I installed it on pirateskills.com. I have got an A/B test running here, but now I want to create a new experience. And in this case, I don't want to create an A/B test. This is something we talked about the last time. I don't want to create a multivariate test, which is just a combination of multiple tests at the same time, but you need a lot of traffic for that. You can set up redirects, which simply help you to redirect a person who goes to one website and then send it to somewhere else. What we are going to do today is to look at this personalization feature and what it can do for you. So here you see that if you start the personalization, you can change anything on your website in a what you see is what you get editor style, which is called WYSIWYG. Yeah, most A/B testing software works like this. There are some more programmatic ones, but most of them give you some kind of editor, some better, some worse. I don't particularly like the one from Google Optimize because you can still break your page if you're not careful. But you can just tap in onto any field, like this field, and then you'll be able to edit it. Here on the right hand side, you can see that you now can change the size, you can change the text, and let's change something. Yeah, so in this case, I changed this field to do you like the meetups? Why don't you join? Then you love the workshops. Yeah. After we made this simple change, it is really just typing in there and changing the text. You don't have to code anything at this moment. The next decision you have to make is who is going to see that change, because personalization is all about the question of putting your visitors into certain buckets. Yeah, the typical example is gender. Let's say we know some people on our website are female, some are male, some we don't know anything about. First of all, we need to decide what happens to anybody if we don't know it. Yeah, what is the default experience? Then what is the experience for women? What is the experience for men? Like in a fashion store, the obvious solution would be to show women fashion products versus male fashion products. And if you don't know it, you still have to show a combination of women and male, which is less interesting to women. Yeah, it would be better for women to just see women fashion if they are shopping for themselves. Yeah. So what kind of behavior can we target? Let's zoom in here, and I'll show you with the example of Google Analytics what you can use to influence the behavior, yeah, to decide who's going to see it. Right now in this example, we are going to look at the behavior tab, and this gives us the option to differentiate between people who are new on your page and who have already been on your page in the past few days, few months. But you can see that you can also customize it based on ads, on UTM parameters. I'm going to show that in an upcoming section. You can differentiate between desktop and mobile and tablet users easily by location. I have an example for that. By browser technology, or let's say like the OS, the operating system on the phone, so that you show the correct link for Android users compared to iOS users. You can have a lot of fun. And at the end here, there are the more advanced things. You can add custom query parameters, put stuff from the data layer in there, and do custom JavaScript stuff. We're going to focus on this upper section today. But let's click on the behavior tab and see where this leads us. In this case, the example I showed you in the beginning, the same old, to the new version with the do you like the meetup version. Yeah. What did I do there? I decided that it would be good if somebody who has been the first time on this website that is longer than 1 day ago. So I know that person has been on the website not only today, but at least yesterday or longer. So I know that they are returning visitors. Yeah, I could also do it with just a couple of hours, but usually it's most people do it for a couple of days, the returning visitor selection. And now only the people who have been on my website before, at least 24 hours before, they will see, do you like the meetups? Then you will love the workshops. And there are all kinds of other criteria I can use to make it more specific, but it is as simple as that. Yeah, to be able to show new people other things than people who have already been on your website. So let's dig into an example. So again, let me show you how this worked now. If I'm a new user on our workshop page, you can try this live. This personalization is running as we speak. You will see master the art and science of growth marketing. But if you visit the website tomorrow, 24 hours later, you will see the like the meetups, and then you will love the workshops word. And you can, of course, do a much more elaborate change on your website than just one text. You could change the call to action button, the background images. You can introduce a pop-up, all kinds of stuff that might be interesting to you. So let's look at what kind of tools are going to help us to create this. I name all of those tools customer experience ones, but some are just very specific for A/B testing and some are more elaborate ones. Here we see a comparison that abtesting did. abtesting is a customer experience company from France, and they helped us sponsor this episode of the pirateskills meetup. So they are helping us to do those live streams, and they also provided, thankfully, case studies with real numbers from companies that they have implemented personalization and customer experience optimization with. So thank you very much, abtesting, for that. But here you can see that there are quite a lot of tools that are popular. So abtesting is one, and I would suggest you ask questions about abtesting, for example, in Discord, because I know that Beatrix is there, and she can answer questions about abtesting quite well. And if you have very detailed technical questions, she will always be able to refer you to a competent colleague. Then we have competitors like Optimizely, VWO, as I showed today, Google Optimize from the USA, and Adobe Target. And there are many more, and you can check them out. But I thought that this comparison chart was actually quite helpful for me to see the differentiation points. So if, for example, it is important for you to have local customer support, then you're gonna definitely look at something like abtesting compared to Google. But check that out for yourself. So let's look at a real case study that they provided. So let's say you want to increase the amount of people who subscribe to your newsletter. Then you could decide to create a pop-up on your website. But most of us hate those kind of pop-ups. So why don't we show this only to a specific group of people? So in this case, let's look at this pop-up. Yeah, it's here. We can see that we give them a choice. Do you want to subscribe? No or yes. And this gets them into a mood to compare. Do I want to go this way? Do I want to go that way? And that the idea behind that is that they are more likely to get into this mood of, do I want to dress? Do I want to get this dress? Do I want to get that dress? And it's not only about subscribing them to a newsletter, but also to influence their experience. And this specific pop-up has increased the subscriptions by 15%, and the amount of people who actually accessed the checkout area, who went there, increased by 18%. And if they are coming back at some point and they said no, for example, or yes, they are not going to get bugged by this pop-up again. Yeah, and maybe another personalization is starting to take place. So I think this is a very interesting example, and we are going to keep on looking at real-world examples like this throughout the series. If you have any questions about this, then use the Slido, yeah, and or use the chat on Discord where Beatrix and the team can help.